Japan, in the early 20th century, was a nation on the rise. The streets of Tokyo buzzed with energy, a testament to the rapid changes sweeping through the country. It had embraced modernization and industrialization, transforming itself from a feudal society to a burgeoning world power. Factories sprang up, railways crisscrossed the land, and the hum of machinery became the new soundtrack of progress. But with this newfound strength came a growing ambition, an ambition for resources and dominance in Asia. The military parades of the 1930s showcased not just power, but a desire to expand and control. Japan's leaders, driven by a potent mix of nationalism and militarism, looked outward, their eyes set on expanding their empire. Nationalist rallies fueled the fervour, and the military's influence grew stronger with each passing day. They saw themselves as the rightful leaders of Asia, destined to liberate the continent from Western influence. Propaganda posters depicted Japan as the saviour, the beacon of hope for an Asia free from Western domination. This ambition led Japan down a dark path, one paved with aggression and conquest. The march of Japanese troops became a common sight, a harbinger of the conflicts to come. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, a resource-rich region in northeastern China. This bold move was a clear signal of Japan's intentions and its willingness to use force to achieve its goals. The world watched in shock and condemnation, but Japan, emboldened by its success, pressed on. The League of Nations' disapproval did little to deter Japan's aggressive policies. Throughout the 1930s, Japan continued its expansionist policies, clashing with China and further solidifying its grip on the Asian mainland. Battles raged, and the map of Asia began to change under Japan's influence. The world was on the brink of a global conflict, and Japan, fueled by its imperial ambitions, was poised to play a pivotal role. Tensions escalated, and the drums of war grew louder. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, a collision between East and West. The cultural and ideological differences between Japan and the Western powers were stark, setting the scene for an inevitable confrontation. Japan's leaders, blinded by their own ambition, believed that their superior spirit and military might would carry them to victory. They underestimated the resolve and resources of their adversaries. Particularly the United States, a sleeping giant about to be awakened. The US military began to prepare for the inevitable conflict. The attack on Pearl Harbor would be the catalyst, a day that would live in infamy and plunge the world into the abyss of total war. This surprise attack galvanized the United States, setting the stage for a global struggle that would reshape the world. December 7th, 1941, dawned like any other Sunday in paradise. The sky was clear, and the air was filled with the promise of another beautiful day in Hawaii. The sun glinted off the tranquil waters of Pearl Harbor, the home of the US Pacific Fleet. Sailors went about their morning routines, unaware of the impending disaster, but the serenity was shattered at 7:55 a.m. The peaceful morning was abruptly interrupted by the deafening roar of aircraft engines. Japanese aircraft, appearing from the clear blue sky, launched a surprise attack that would forever alter the course of history. The sky, once serene, was now filled with the ominous sight of enemy planes. The first wave of Japanese planes targeted the airfields and the unsuspecting ships moored in the harbour. Chaos ensued as explosions erupted and smoke filled the air. Battleships, symbols of American naval power, were caught unprepared. These mighty vessels, once the pride of the fleet, were now vulnerable targets. Explosions ripped through the air as bombs and torpedoes found their marks. The harbour was engulfed in flames and destruction. The USS Arizona, hit with devastating accuracy, exploded in a fiery inferno, taking over 1,000 lives with it. The loss was unimaginable, and the impact profound. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a masterstroke of surprise and military planning. The Japanese had meticulously prepared for this moment, ensuring maximum devastation. It achieved its tactical objective of crippling the US Pacific Fleet, but it also ignited a firestorm of outrage and determination in the hearts of the American people. The aftermath was a scene of utter devastation, but also of resolve. The date, which will live in infamy, in the words of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, galvanized the nation. His speech resonated deeply, stirring a collective spirit of unity and defiance. America, united in grief and anger, declared war on Japan, officially entering World War II. The attack on Pearl Harbor had awakened a sleeping giant, and the course of the war was irrevocably changed. The Pacific War was a conflict unlike any other. It raged across vast distances, fought not on sprawling battlefields but on tiny islands scattered across the Pacific Ocean. These islands, often little more than coral atolls or volcanic outcroppings, became battlegrounds of brutal intensity. The fighting was characterized by a grueling island-hopping campaign, as American forces, island by bloody island, pushed the Japanese back towards their homeland. Each island presented its own unique challenges. The Japanese, masters of defensive warfare, dug in deep using caves, tunnels, and intricate fortifications to their advantage. They fought with a ferocity born of desperation, determined to defend every inch of territory no matter the cost. For the American Marines tasked with prying them out, it was a brutal, unforgiving fight. The battles were often fought hand to hand, a savage struggle for survival in the sweltering heat and humidity of the Pacific. Casualties were horrific on both sides. The islands themselves, once paradises of natural beauty, were transformed into landscapes of death and destruction, scarred by bomb craters, littered with the wreckage of war. As the war in the Pacific raged on, the Americans and their allies faced a new and terrifying enemy tactic: kamikaze attacks. These suicide missions were unlike anything the Allied forces had encountered before, and they required a new level of vigilance and bravery from the sailors and airmen who faced them. Kamikaze, meaning divine wind in Japanese, referred to suicide attacks carried out by pilots who deliberately crashed their planes, often laden with explosives, into enemy ships. This tactic was born out of desperation and a deeply ingrained sense of duty and honor. These attacks, fueled by a fanatical devotion to the emperor and a belief in self-sacrifice for the glory of Japan, instilled fear in the hearts of even the most seasoned sailors. The sight of a kamikaze plane diving towards a ship was a harrowing experience, one that left an indelible mark on those who witnessed it. The first kamikaze attacks occurred in late 1944, as the tide of the war began to turn decisively against Japan. With their resources dwindling and their forces stretched thin, the Japanese military saw these suicide missions as a last-ditch effort to halt the advancing Allied forces. Desperate to stop the relentless American advance, Japanese commanders resorted to increasingly desperate measures. They believed that the sheer shock and terror of kamikaze attacks could turn the tide in their favor, even as the odds grew ever more insurmountable. Young men, often with minimal training, were given one-way missions, their planes turned into guided missiles aimed at the heart of the Allied fleet. These pilots, many of whom were barely out of their teens, were told that their sacrifice would bring honor to their families and glory to their nation. While the kamikaze attacks did inflict casualties and damage on Allied ships, they ultimately failed to alter the course of the war. The Allied forces, though shaken, adapted their tactics and continued their relentless push towards Japan. The courage and sacrifice of the kamikaze pilots, however misguided, served as a stark reminder of the cultural and ideological gulf that separated the two sides in this epic conflict. Their actions, driven by a complex mix of honor, desperation, and indoctrination, left a lasting legacy on the history of warfare. A Gap 3S. As the kamikaze attacks echoed across the Pacific, the broader panorama of World War II continued to unfold with unrelenting ferocity. The American and Japanese armies clashed in a series of monumental battles that would shape the course of history. Each confrontation brought with it stories of valor, sacrifice, and an unwavering resolve from both sides. Gap 2S, one of the most significant battles, was the Battle of Midway, a turning point in the Pacific theatre. Fought in June 1942, This battle saw the United States Navy deliver a decisive blow to the Imperial Japanese Navy, sinking 4 of their aircraft carriers. It was a strategic victory that shifted the balance of power in favour of the Allies. Real footage shows the intense aerial dogfights, the fiery destruction of Japanese carriers, and the jubilant yet exhausted faces of American sailors. Gap 2S. Another pivotal moment came with the Battle of Iwo Jima in early 1945. This brutal conflict, depicted through stark black and white footage, showcased the tenacity of the American Marines as they faced fierce Japanese resistance. The iconic image of the flag raising on Mount Suribachi symbolizes the indomitable spirit and costly triumph of the American forces. The battle resulted in significant casualties on both sides, highlighting the high stakes and immense human cost of the war. Gap 2S. The Battle of Okinawa, often referred to as the Typhoon of Steel, was one of the bloodiest engagements in the Pacific. Fought from April to June 1945, the footage reveals the relentless artillery barrages, the grim determination of the soldiers, and the devastation wrought upon the landscape. This battle underscored the Japanese resolve to defend their homeland at all costs, even as the Allied forces moved inexorably closer to Japan's mainland. Gap 2S. Amidst the carnage, the strategic bombing campaigns over Japan aimed to cripple the nation's war production capabilities. Footage from these raids shows the eerie glow of firebombed cities, a stark reminder of the war's destructive power. These bombings culminated in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. The haunting images of mushroom clouds and the subsequent devastation brought the war to a sudden and harrowing conclusion. Gap 2S. The surrender of Japan on September 2, 1945 marked the end of World War II. Footage of the signing ceremony aboard the USS Missouri captures a moment of solemnity and relief as the world finally saw an end to the most devastating conflict in human history. The faces of soldiers and civilians alike reflect a mix of sorrow, hope, and the dawning realization of a new era. Gap 2S. These battles and events, captured through real footage, provide a poignant and visceral understanding of the immense sacrifices made and the indomitable spirit that defined this era. They serve as a testament to the courage and resilience of those who fought and a reminder of the profound cost of war. As the echoes of valor faded into history, the world faced the daunting task of rebuilding and reflecting on the immense cost of World War II. Both America and Japan, once fierce adversaries, now embarked on paths of recovery and transformation that would reshape their futures and their roles on the global stage. In America, the post-war period was marked by a surge in industrial growth and economic prosperity. Real footage shows bustling factories, the rise of suburban communities, and the optimism of the American people as they embraced the promise of a brighter future. This era, known as the Golden Age, saw significant advancements in technology, infrastructure, and civil rights. The GI Bill provided returning soldiers with opportunities for education and home ownership, laying the foundation for a thriving middle class. Across the Pacific, Japan faced a different reality. The devastation wrought by the war left the nation in ruins, with cities reduced to rubble and a population grappling with loss and uncertainty. Footage reveals the stark contrast of bombed-out landscapes and the determination of the Japanese people to rebuild their homeland. Under the guidance of American occupation forces led by General Douglas MacArthur, Japan underwent a period of demilitarization and democratization. The introduction of a new constitution in 1947, which included the renouncement of war, laid the groundwork for a peaceful and prosperous future. The Marshall Plan, an American initiative to aid in the reconstruction of Europe and Japan, played a crucial role in revitalizing the Japanese economy. Real footage shows the rebuilding of infrastructure, the revival of industries, and the burgeoning spirit of innovation that would eventually transform Japan into an economic powerhouse. This period of rapid industrialization and modernization, known as the Japanese economic miracle, saw the rise of iconic companies and technological advancements that would shape the modern world. Amidst the rebuilding, both nations took time to reflect on the lessons of the war. In America, the memory of the sacrifices made by the greatest generation became a source of national pride and a reminder of the values of freedom and democracy. Memorials and museums were established to honor the fallen and educate future generations about the cost of war. In Japan, the war left an indelible mark on the national consciousness. Footage of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, now cities of peace and remembrance, underscores the profound impact of the atomic bombings. The annual peace memorial ceremonies serve as a solemn reminder of the horrors of war and a commitment to a future without nuclear weapons. The post-war period also saw the emergence of a strong alliance between the United States and Japan. Once bitter enemies, the two nations forged a partnership based on mutual respect and shared interests. This alliance, captured through real footage of diplomatic meetings and cultural exchanges, has endured through the decades, contributing to regional stability and global peace. As we reflect on the journey from conflict to cooperation, the real footage of World War II and its aftermath provides a powerful testament to the resilience and determination of the human spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the seeds of hope and renewal can take root, leading to a future of peace and prosperity for all. To understand the profound transformation and deep scars of World War II, we must revisit the significant battles and events that defined the conflict between America and Japan. Real footage of World War II brings to life the intensity and scale of these historic moments. The Battle of Midway, a pivotal naval encounter in June 1942, marked a turning point in the Pacific theater. Footage of aircraft carriers, fighter planes, and the chaotic sea battle illustrates the strategic brilliance of the American forces. The victory at Midway halted Japanese expansion and shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies. The brutal island-hopping campaign that followed saw fierce battles on Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Real footage captures the relentless combat, the harsh conditions, and the immense sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides. These battles, characterized by their ferocity and high casualties, were crucial in weakening Japan's defensive perimeter and bringing the Allies closer to Japan's home islands. The footage of the Battle of Iwo Jima, with the iconic image of Marines raising the American flag on Mount Suribachi, symbolizes the courage and determination of the Allied forces. The costly victory provided a strategic base for the eventual invasion of Japan and highlighted the resolve of the American military. As the war neared its end, the devastating bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 brought an unprecedented level of destruction and human suffering. Real footage of the aftermath reveals the horrific impact of the atomic bombs, leading to Japan's unconditional surrender and the end of World War II. These events underscore the profound ethical and moral questions that continue to resonate to this day. Throughout the war, the resilience and ingenuity of both the American and Japanese armies were on full display. Real footage of military strategies, technological advancements, and the sheer scale of the conflict provides a comprehensive understanding of the challenges faced by both nations. As we remember these significant battles and events, the real footage of World War II serves as a powerful reminder of the cost of conflict and the enduring human spirit. It is through understanding this history that we can appreciate the journey from war to peace and the lessons that continue to shape our world today. The legacy of World War II, captured through these historic moments, reminds us of the importance of preserving peace and fostering cooperation among nations. It is a testament to the strength and resilience of those who lived through the war, and a call to future generations to strive for a world free from the ravages of conflict. As we conclude this chapter, let us honor the memories of those who fought and sacrificed, and commit ourselves to building a future defined by understanding, unity, and lasting peace. If you learned something new, please like this video, subscribe for more content, and share to support the channel.